Hello everyone, welcome to the Python programming course. In the previous lecture, we learned about variables, strings, data types, loops, and decision making statements. And in the very next lecture, we are going to start with data structures. And the very first data structure which we are going to start with is list. Imagine a situation where you need to store the marks of 100 students. Would you create 100 separate variables? Of course not. That would make the program log difficult to manage and prone to errors. To solve this problem, Python provides a powerful data structure called list. In today's lecture, we will understand what a list is, why we use it, and how it makes our program simpler and more efficient. For example, I want to store the marks of different subjects. I have math marks equals to 95. Similarly, we have English 90, history 85. Here we are storing marks for just 3 subjects and we already need 3 different variables. Imagine storing the marks of 100 students or 10,000 products. Creating a separate variable for each value is not practical. The number of variables keeps increasing, managing them becomes difficult, and writing code becomes time consuming. That's why we need list. Now we will look into list. So what is a list? A list is a collection of multiple values stored in a single variable. Instead of creating many variables, or we create one variable and that variable stores multiple values. For example, if I write marks equals to 90, 95, 85. Here marks is a one variable but it stores 5 values together. This makes our code shorter, cleaner and much easier to manage. Now we will look into the characteristics of list. The very first feature of list is lists are ordered, which means lists maintain the order in which elements are added. The first item remains first unless we change it. The second character is mutable. Lists are mutable. Mutable means we can change the contents after creating them. We can add, remove or modify elements whenever needed. The third is allow duplicate value. List allows duplicate values. If the same item appears multiple times, Python stores all of them. Fourth is can store all data types. List can store integers, strings, float values, boolean values, and even other lists together. Stores integers, floats, boolean, strings, and other strings as well. The next feature is dynamic size. List can grow or shrink during program execution. You don't have to decide the size in advance. Can change this size. Now let's quickly look into the syntax of list. How do we create a list in Python? For creating a list, firstly we will define the list name and then equals to, and in the square brackets we will store our items like item 1, item 2 and many more. Python stores list elements in order. Each value occupies a position inside the list. Later we will learn how to access each position using indexes. Now the question arises that what is the difference between a variable and a list? We will quickly look into that also. So variable stores only one value. While a list stores multiple values. Variable is defined as age equals to 20 and list is defined as marks. Then we can store the marks in this. Variable stores simple data, while list can store collection of data. So this was all about the basic introduction of list. If a list contains 100 items, how do we get the first item, the last item or the middle item? That we will see in the next part of this video. In the previous part, we learned that a list can store multiple values inside a single variable. But a question arises, suppose a list contains 100 values and I want to access the 25th value, or if I want to change the say 36th value, how do we do that? Python solves this problem using indexing. Now, what is indexing? Indexing is the process of accessing elements in a list using their position. Think of the index as the address of an element. We don't search the entire list, we simply use the element's index to access it directly. Imagine an apartment building. We have an apartment, and we have rooms assigned with 101, 102, 103, room number 104, and these are assigned to different people. We say Aman lives in room number 101, Rahul in 102, Priya in 103, and Simran in 104. Every person has a flat number. If you want to visit Rahul, you don't knock on every code, you directly go to flat number 102. Similarly, every element in list has an index so that the Python can directly access it. Firstly, we have positive indexing. For example, I have a list of fruits. Let's say I have a list of fruit names. Fruits equals to, we have different fruit name stores in the list. So this is our list. Python starts counting from 0. So the apple is at 0th index, banana is at first index, this is at second index, this is at third index, and this is at fourth index. Now why does the indexing starts from 0? Computers store data in memory. Internally, the first position has an offset of 0. That's why most of the programming languages like C++, Java, Python starts indexing from 0. Similarly, we also have negative indexing. If I look at this same list, this grape is at -1 index, this is -2 index, this is -3 index, this is -4 index, and this is -5 index. Positive index starts from beginning and active indexing starts from the end. This is useful when you want to access the last few elements without knowing the number of elements stored in the list. Now we will look how can we access the elements. Accessing elements. For that, the syntax is, firstly we will write the list name, and in the square brackets we will write the index. For example, I want to fetch apple. For that, what I can do, I can write fruits, which is our list name, then we will write the index. The index of apple is 0. Or we can say I can write fruits -5th index. These both are the same thing. We can also update the elements of list, as the lists are mutable, so we can change elements after creating the list. For example, if I want to change this orange to grapes, I can easily do that. Now we have know how to access elements in the list using indexing, but what if we want multiple elements at once instead of just one? For example, getting the first 3 elements, every alternate element, or the position of the list. In the next part, we will learn list slicing, list operators, and some of very useful inbuilt functions like length, max, min, and sum. In the previous part, we learned how to access a single element using its index, but in real-world programming, we often need multiple elements together. Instead of accessing each element one by one, Python provides a feature called list slicing. So what is list slicing? List slicing is the process of extracting a portion of a list by specifying a range of indexes. Slicing creates a new list containing only the selected elements. The original list remains unchanged. Imagine you have a birthday cake. You don't always eat the entire cake. Sometimes you only take a few slices. List slicing works exactly in the same way. Instead of taking the whole list, we take only the part we need. Now we will quickly look at the syntax of the list slicing. So firstly, we will write the list name. Then in the square brackets we have our start, stop, and step. Start is the index where the slicing begins. Start is always included. Stop is the index where slicing ends. Stop is always excluded. And step means number of positions to move after selecting each element. For example, say I have a list of numbers and I have 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. For convenience, I will also write the indexes of the numbers. This is 0th index, first, second, third and fourth. Say I write number in the square brackets, I write 0 #3. So this will return me a new list which contains 0th index which is 10, first index which is 20, second index which is 30. So I have a new list having 10, 20 and 30 stored in it. Say I write number 4, then this list will contain 0, 1, 2 and 3 which is 10, 20, 30 and 40. If I write number 2 colons and then 2, this will means we haven't defined the starting is also 0, the ending is also 0 and the step is 2. That means we will start from 10. We will jump 2 steps, then 20, then we have 30. Then after 2 steps we have 50. The step size is 2, so the Python skips every second element. If I write this, so this will return me a reversed list. Similarly, we can also commence with the negative indexing the same way. Then the other topic which we are going to cover is list concatenation. List concatenation means concatenation combines two lists in one larger list. After list concatenation, we have some built-in functions. The first function which we have is length function, which returns the total number of elements in a list. After length we have max function, which returns the largest element. Then we have min function, which returns smallest element. After that we have sum function, which adds all numeric elements of the list. So far we have learned how to create list, access elements and extract portion of a list. But list become truly powerful because it comes with many built-in functions that let us add, remove, search, sort and modify elements. In the next part we will explore the most commonly used list methods. So far we have learned how to create list, access element, extract values using slicing, but imagine you are creating a shopping app or a student management system. Users will continuously add, remove, search and update data. Writing all of this manually would be difficult. That's why Python provides a built-in method. So what is a method? A method is a built-in function that performs a specific operation on an object. Lists have their own special methods. These methods help us perform common tasks like adding, removing, sorting or reversing elements. So today we will look at each method specifically. So the first method that we have is append method. Append adds a new element to the end of the list. Imagine you are shopping online. Every time you add a new product, it is placed at the end of your cart. Append works exactly the same way. Next method that we have is insert method. Inserts an element at a specific position. Instead of adding at the end, we place the new element at a chosen position. The remaining elements shift one place to the right. Now, what is the difference between insert and append? The append adds at the end, while the insert adds element at a specific index. In append, we pass only one parameter, that is our value. That's our value. While in insert, we have two parameters, the index at which we want to add a value and the value. So this is the primary differences between append and index. The next method that we have is extend method. Extend method adds all the elements of one list to another list. After extend, we have remove method. Remove method removes the first occurrence of specified value. After remove, we have pop method. Pop removes and returns the element at a specified index. And returns element at a specified index. Pop removes an element from the list. If no index is given, it moves the last element. Now, what is the difference between remove and pop? Remove method removes by value, while the pop method removes by index. Remove doesn't return the remove value. While pop returns the remove value. After remove and pop, we have clear method. What does clear method do? Clear method removes all the elements from the list and returns us with the empty list. From the list. Then we have index method. Index returns the index of the first occurrence of a value. After index, the eighth method which we have is count method. As per the name, count method counts how many times a value appears. Counts how many times a value appears in a list. After count, we have sort method. Sort method arranges the list in ascending order numbers are arranged from smallest to largest. But if I write sort reverse equals to true, then this will arrange the elements in descending order. from larger value to smaller value. After sort, we have reverse method. Reverse method reverse the order of elements in the list. Reverses the order of elements in the list. After reverse, we have copy method. So the copy method creates a new copy of a list. So now we are done with all the methods which we have in the list. In the final theory part of this lecture, we will learn how to traverse lists using for and while loops. Welcome back everyone. We have completed the theory of list. Now it's time to implement everything in Jupyter Notebook. In this section, we will learn how to create list, print list, access element using indexes, update elements, find the length of a list, create different types of lists. So let's start with the very first program in which we will create a list. Firstly, we will give a name to our list. Say I give it a name fruits, and I will store names of fruits in this list. I store apple, banana, mango, and orange. So this is how you create a list. And we can also print this list. We can print fruits. We'll print this in the next line. So we created a list. Now we will print this list. Print fruits. There we go. Now wait. Fruits is the variable name. These square brackets creates a list and elements are separated by commas. Print displays now the print function displays the complete list. We can create list using different data types. We can create a list of numbers. Then we can create a list of names. We can create a list having decimal values, decimal numbers. We can show decimal values in this. And we can also create lists having Boolean values. So these are the different types of lists which we can create. We can also create mixed list. A mixed list is a list which have element of all data types. For example, I stored a string value, then we can have an integer value, decimal value, and a Boolean expression. Python allows different data types in the same list. Another type of list which we can create is an empty list, which is represented by this. So this is an empty list. This list doesn't contain any value. Now what we will do, we will try to access the elements of the list using indexing. Say we have the list name
fruits. Now we will access the elements of this list. Firstly, we will access the first element, which is print fruits list name. Then in the square brackets we will write the index, which is 0. Okay, so it prints apple. We can also print other elements using negative indexing also. For example, if I want to fetch the last element, I will write fruits, then -1. So it returns the last element, which is orange. Now in the next program, we will update the list elements. For example, in the place of apple, I want to store pineapple. So what will I do? Firstly, we will print the first element, which is apple, before update fruits. So before updation fruits, and then we will update the first element, fruit 1, fruit 0, sorry. The first element is at 0th index equals to pineapple. And then we will print the updated list. Print after update. We will run this program. So you can see before update we have apple at the first index, but after update we have pineapple. In list, we also have a length method using which we can find the total number of elements in the any list. For example, I create a list named marks and I store various values in this list. And now I want to print length of marks. Since the list contains 6 elements, the length of marks is 6. Now we will try to take input from the user and store that input in the list. For example, I want to create a list of students' name. So we have name 1, name 2, and name 3. We will take input, enter name for all the variables. Then we will create a list named students, and in the student list we will store name 1, name 2, and name 3. And then we will print the list. Print students list. The first name is Rohit, then Aman, then Rahul. And you can see these names are stored in the students list, and now it prints Rohit, Aman, and Rahul in the form of student list. The next program is students marks list. In this, we will take the student's name as input and student marks as, and we will store the marks of the students in the list format. And after that, we will print the marks subject wise. Firstly, we will create a variable name, and in the name variable, we will take input from the user. We will write enter student name. After that, we will create a marks list, and in the list, we will take 3 inputs. Firstly, int input, enter marks in maths. Similarly, we will take 3 inputs. We have marks in maths, marks in science, and marks in English. Now we will print these values. Print student name, which is name. Then we will print the marks list, print marks. Then we will print the marks in each subject using indexing. Firstly, we have math marks, marks 0, science marks, marks 1. Then we will print English marks, marks 2. Now control plus shift, shift plus enter. Now we will write the student name. So say the student's name is Rahul. Marks in maths are 95, then 94, then 93. Enter. So here you can see we have student's name Rahul, marks, maths marks, science marks, and English marks. So in this practical session, we learned how to create lists, access elements using positive and negative indexing, update list values, and calculate the length of the list. In the next practical session, we will explore list operations. In the previous practical session, we learned how to create lists and access their elements. By the end of this session, you will know how to extract parts of list, combine list, repeat list, check whether an element exists, and use useful built-in functions like length, max, min, and sum. So in the very first program of this section, we are going to create a list of name numbers and we will store different numbers in this 30. And now we are going to perform slicing on this. Firstly, we will print first three elements using slicing. To access the first three elements, in the square brackets, we will write our counting will start from the 0th index and it will goes up to the third index, which is excluded. So it will fetch index 0, 1, and 2. So here you can see we have 10, 20, and 30, which are the first three elements of numbers list. Similarly, we can fetch last three elements. For last three elements, what we are going to do, we will, in the square brackets, we will start counting from 3 and which will goes up to 6. Now we have last three elements. Since there are only 5 elements in the list, the last it prints last two elements. We can add another value. We can add 60 here. Well, now we have last three elements. After this, we will print numbers, and in the square brackets, we will write a colon. Now I haven't defined the starting index and the stopping index is 4. So it will fetch me 10, 20, 30, and 40, which is index 0, 1, 2, and 3. And if I leave stopping value to be 0, then it will fetch index 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if I print numbers, but I won't define the starting and stopping condition. It will give me the whole list. And if I write print numbers, and here I write two colons, like I don't define a starting condition and a stopping condition, but I will define a step size of 2. So this will fetch me 10, 30, 40. Double colon 2 skips every alternate element. Then we can also print the list in reverse order using this indexing. Numbers, no starting condition, no stopping condition, and a step size of -1. So this will fetch me the list in the reverse order. Now the next part which we're going to cover is list concatenation. For that, I will create a list 1 of three numbers 1, 2, and 3, and a list 2 of three numbers 4, 5, and 6. Now I will create another list named result, and in the result I will add list 1 and list 2. And if I print result, so this returns me a list containing 6 elements from list 1 and list 2. So the addition operator joins the two lists into one. We can also list, say I create a list named color, and in the color list has two string values, red and blue. So using the functions, we can also do multiplication of list. So if I print colors, and in the print statement, I write multiply by 3. So this will fetch me a list having the values of the previous list multiplied by 3, matlab repeat, means repeating by. Also perform multiplication in list. For example, I create a list named colors, and in the color list, I store two values, red and blue. If I write print colors multiply by 3, so this will fetch me a list containing red, blue 3 times. It will give me a list containing the elements of the list colors repeated 3 times. After that, we have membership operators. For membership operators, let's create a new list named fruits. We will store apple, three names of fruits in this list, and mango. Say I write print apple in fruits. So this is a true statement because apple is included in fruits list. So if I print this, it will return true. But if I write print apple not in fruits, so this is a false statement, so it will return false. After that, we have some built-in functions in list. For that, we will create marks. Now we will perform all the built-in functions of this marks list. Firstly, if I print length marks, so this will fetch me the total number of elements in the list. If I print max marks, so this will fetch me the largest value in the list, which is 78. Similarly, we have min function. Min, this operator fetch the least value in the list, and the sum operator adds up all the values of the list. So 245, it returned 245, which is the sum of all the elements of marks list. Now we will do a program which is called average marks. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a marks list. We will use this marks list and we will try to print the average marks of in the list. For that, I will create a variable named average. So mathematically, average is the sum of all the elements in the list divided by the total number of elements in the list. So firstly, we will write sum marks, which is sum of all the elements in the list, and then we will divide it by length of marks, which is the number of elements in the list. And at last, we will print average. So it returns 49.0, which is the average marks. So these operators are extremely useful when working with collection of data. In the next practical section, we will learn list methods such as append, insert, extend, remove, pop, sort, reverse, and copy. In the previous session, we learned different list operators like slicing, concatenation, and built-in functions. Now we will learn list methods which allow us to add, remove, search, sort, and modify data in a list. We will understand each method with practical example and explain how it changes the list. So the very first method which we have is the append method. Append, append method is used to add an element to a list. For example, I have a list of fruits which is equals to apple, banana, and mango. So I have a list of three elements. Now I want to add a fourth element which is orange. So what will I do? Firstly, we will print the list. So what we will do, we will write fruits dot append, and in these circular brackets, we will write the things which we want to add. I want to add orange, and then we will print the list. Print shift plus enter. So there you can see in the before list we have apple, banana, and mango, and the after list after append we have apple, banana, mango, and orange. So append adds one element at the end of the list. The next method which we have is the insert method. Using the insert method, we can add an element at a specific index. For example, if I want to add orange at the first index, so what will I do? We have insert method. I will write fruits dot insert. Then I will specify my index, which is index 0, then our value, which is orange. Then we will print it. Now we will run this code. So here you can see orange is added at the first first place, which is the 0th index. The next method which we have is the extend method. Say I have two lists. List 1, which contains values 1, 2, and 3. And then you have list 2, containing values 4, 5. So we will extend the list1 dot extend, and in the brackets we will write list2. And then if I print list 1, so the list 1 will contain the elements of the list 2 as well. So now the list 1 becomes 1, 2, 3, and 3, 4, and 5. After extend, we have remove method. Say from the list of numbers num, which is equals to 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. From this list, I want to remove 20. So what will I do? I will write num dot remove, and in the bracket we will write the value which we want to remove, which is 20. And after that we will print num. So you can see 20 is removed from the list. After remove, we have pop method. Say I have a list of colors which have red, blue, and green. And I want to use pop method and remove any random value from the colors list. So what will I do? I will write removed equals to colors dot pop. And if I print remove, it will give me a random value. Here it gives green. Here I didn't provided an index. Without an index, pop removes the last element. We can also give index to this. For example, if I write here pop 1, so it will remove blue. Then we have the sort method. Say I have a list of marks and I want to sort them in the ascending order. So I will write marks dot sort, and if I will then print marks. So now all the values are arranged in ascending order. If I want the values in descending order, I will write marks dot sort reverse equals to true. This will give me values in descending order. After that, we have the reverse method. Reverse method simply reverse the order of elements in a list. For example, I have a list of numbers, and if I write num dot reverse, then I print num, this will give me the list in the reverse order of elements. Then we have the count, index, copy, and clear methods. To demonstrate all these methods, I will create a num list. We will use the same list here, this num list. We will apply all these methods on this num list. Firstly, we will write print count of 20. For that, we will use number dot index dot count 20. And if I print this, so the count of 20 is 1. Why? Because only one time 20 is repeated in the list. Then we have the index method. If I write num dot index of 30, so it will return me the index value of number 30, which is 0, 1, and which is 2. Then we have the copy method. With the help of copy method, we can create copy a list with another list. For example, I create an empty list called copy list, and I will write num. And if I write num.copy, then I print the copy list. The copy list will contain all the elements which are included in the num list. And then we have the clear method. If I write num.clear and then I print the num list, then it will return me an empty list. So the clear method removes all the elements from the list. So now we have learned the most important list methods in Python, including how to add, remove, search, sort, reverse, and copy the list elements. In the next practical session, we will combine list with loops to solve useful problems like finding the largest and the smallest elements, calculating the sum, average, and counting even and odd numbers. To the final practical session of lecture 5. So far we have learned how to create lists, access elements, and use different list methods. Now we will combine lists with loops to solve real-world programming problems. At the end of the session, you will be able to process every element in list efficiently. For the first program of the day, we are going to create a list named fruits, and I'm going to store some values in this. So mango, orange, banana, and apple. Now we will fetch each value using for loop. So for I in fruits, print I. So the for loop visits each element one by one. I stores the current element during each iteration. Now we'll print these values. Similarly, we can do this using a while loop also. For example, I create a list of numbers. I will initialize I equals to 0, then our condition, which is while I less than length of our list, print numbers I. And at the last, our update condition, which is I plus equals to 1. So the I starts from 0. Length numbers gives the total number of the elements, and I increase by 1 after each iteration. Now we have the numbers. Now what we are going to do, we are going to calculate the sum of elements using the for loop, and the numbers will be in a list format. We will use this list here. The program is calculate sum of numbers. For example, I have a list of numbers. Firstly, we will create a variable total equals to 0. Then we'll use our loop for num in numbers. For num in numbers, we are going to store each number in total, and we will also add those values. Plus equals to num. Then finally, we will print the value. Print sum equals to total. Now we have the sum of the elements. The very next program which we are going to do is the find the largest element. Find largest element. For that, again, we will use this list only. Firstly, we will assume that the first number is the largest number. Put largest equals to numbers 0. Now we will run our for loop for num in numbers. Then we will compare each number with our largest value. So I say if my number is greater than largest, If this condition is true, then update the largest to the current number value. And at last, we will print our largest number. Print largest number is largest. Shift plus enter. So our largest number is 50, which is absolutely correct. Now, the next program which we are going to do is calculate average. Say I have a list named marks equals to, and I want to calculate the average of the numbers. Firstly, we will create total marks which is equals to sum marks. And then we will calculate average which is equals to total marks divided by length of marks. Then we will print average. Shift plus enter. So we have our average value, which is 78. Now the next program which we are going to do is calculate the count of even and odd numbers in a list. Calculate the count of odd and even numbers in a list. Say I have a list of numbers which has values 10, 15, 78, 21, 3, 5. Now I will define two variables, even equals to 0 and odd equals to 0. Then we will start our iteration using for loop for I in num. For I in num, if num, the remainder of num with 2, if the remainder of I with 2 is equals to 0, that means the value is even. Then update even plus equals to 1. Else update odd plus equals to 1. And after that, print these values. Print even, print odd. Then, so here we have two even numbers, which is 78 and 10, and rest 4 are odd numbers. So we have finally completed lecture 5. In this lecture, we learned how to create and access list, positive and negative indexing, list slicing, built-in function, list methods, traversing list using loops, and solving real-world problems using list. In lecture 6, we will learn about tuples and sets, their differences from list, and when to use them, and how they can help us write more Python codes. Thank you.